Big win by CF Montreal by a score of 2-0 versus the New York Red Bulls. Your heroes on the night, Andres Reyes from the New York Red Bulls and Mathieu Choignard with a huge goal. Even more impressive, CF Montreal did it playing with only 10 men for the final 30 minutes of the game. Huge win. What will it do for their confidence? Next week versus Sporting Kansas City on the road. Can they replicate? Let's hope so. They're playing the worst team in Major League Soccer. Once again, huge win for the confidence. We'll break it all down. Jeremy Filosa joins me. He's coming up. It's the Sick Podcast, CF Montreal Talk.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. CF Montreal Talk.
Here's the chance. They've got the goal. Absolutely incredible. Cameron Porter delivers the goal to send Montreal Impact into the CONCACAF Champions League semi-final.
The sickest CF Montreal podcast. It's gonna be sick.
All right, welcome. I'm Marinaro, the Sick Podcast, CF Montreal Talk, and we do have breaking news as one player has announced his departure from the team, and that is holding midfielder Rida Zouhir, who via his Instagram account basically says, "Ce fut un plaisir, Montréal, à bientôt." I bring in Jeremy Filosa. Jeremy, good morning.
Good morning, Tony.
All right, Jeremy. All right, this is what we know, and I've since tweeted it, is that Rida Zouhir has been loaned out to a team in the USL. It should be noted that CF Montreal proposed this to Rida back in the winter before the season even started, that they wanted to loan him out to the USL. It's my understanding that the player didn't want, stuck around here for a while. Why he finally decided to go now, I don't know. But we do know that there's going to be some movement because, of course, the deadline to add some players is on Monday. Jeremy, talk to me.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, what I can tell you is I got some privileged information yesterday telling me that the team had some negotiations, serious negotiations on the table to maybe make a move before the deadline on Monday night. So this does not come as a surprise to me. I think Rida maybe wanted to try his shot at the MLS, and this is not a knock on Rida Zouhir, but we've said this from day one. Making the jump from PLSQ to being a starter in the MLS is impossible. It is absolutely necessary for Rida Zouhir to go play at a high level somewhere where he can be a starter, get his minutes in, and maybe he comes back in a year from now a better player, because at this moment, I do not see him being able to make a difference on this team. And so that doesn't help him out. So I think this is good news. Let's wait and see exactly what this is all about.
Well, it's not impossible because, of course, Ishmael Kone did it playing at U21 AAA, but Ishmael Kones don't grow on trees. We know that, and they come around. They're generational players coming out of Quebec or coming out of Canada. And for the most part, Jeremy, you're right. You cannot skip steps in your development. And can Rida Zouhir play at the MLS level? He can, but if he just wants to be a player and just be whatever, yes, you can. If you want to be the best that you can be, you go to levels that are not too much of a jump, not too much of a big step, and you establish yourself and you gain in confidence and you play more minutes and you become a difference maker. And at one point, from becoming you become a dominant player, and then you move on to the next step. And so that's what's been done here. And hopefully he's a good young man. We see him in Montreal one day in the very near future. All right, okay. So that's done. Let's get back to the game last night, and let's bring up the starting lineups for both teams if we can. And there you have it. For Montreal, Sirois in goal, of course, and then a three-man back line of Camacho with Corbo on his right and Waterman on his left. At left wing back, Iliadis. At right wing back, Herrera. Choignard and Wanyama right in front of the back line with two tens, Lassiter and Duke in behind Ofer, basically. You could put it any way you want. It looks like a 3-4-2-1 with, of course, when they have the ball, and when they don't have the ball and they're defending, you're defending with a back line of five because Herrera and Iliadis drop back. You have a chance to see New York Red Bulls lineup, of course, with Colonel and Nialis and Reyes at center back and Duncan at right back and Tolkien at left back, the young left back that everyone's talking about as a promising player, of course, and Caceres and Edelman in front of the back line. And then Fernandez with Torres on his right and Harper on his left, and it was Burke up top. Jeremy, I thought one of the major turning points in this game was at the 6-minute mark, where there's a through ball right between Camacho and Waterman, and a Red Bulls player breaks in, and a huge stop by Sirois, who comes out, challenges. The Red Bulls player isn't able to chip it, put it up and over him. Sirois makes a huge stop. They score that goal.
Yeah.
Then they got a 1-0 lead. It's a different game.
Now, definitely, that was a big stop. And that was, early in the game, we were worried because, again, those through balls were getting through. Guys were slicing through the Montreal defense like a hot knife through butter. So we were worried. But Sirois made that one big stop that they needed to make. And it took them a good 30 minutes to settle in Montreal. But then finally, they got things turned around. It wasn't perfect again yesterday. Far from it. Again, of course, the statistics are a little bit lopsided because of that red card and everything. Shots on net 15-7 for the Red Bulls. But I thought they cut back and they cut down a little bit on the turnovers, which helps a lot. I saw guys play with a little bit more calm yesterday. It looked as though Rudy Camacho, what we talked about in the podcast last week, I think certain players took the initiative to hold the ball for a split second more before making their move. So less turnovers. And, I thought what was really impressive is that you go down a man at the 65th minute. So you're playing 25 plus minutes with a man down. And I counted the Red Bulls one good scoring chance in that last 30 minutes of play. That's it. So they were really split back there. They stayed together. And that's something that they can definitely work on.
So now I'm going to tell you something, and you know this. I saw a lot of analysis going into the game that the Red Bulls, they press high and this and that and all that stuff, and they could put Montreal in trouble. Jeremy, I never believed it for a second. As a matter of fact, I predicted this week, and I told everyone that I knew, see if Montreal is going to win this game. I wouldn't have bet the house on it, but the New York Red Bulls are just absolutely terrible with their players suspended. They have no firepower whatsoever. I don't think they play a very good brand of football either. And there's, when Montreal lost that game versus DC United, they weren't playing versus a very good team either 1 week ago. There was a very good opportunity there because I thought the schedule was turning around for them. Yeah. They had DC United at home. They had Vaughan Azzurri at home in the Canadian Championship. They had the New York Red Bulls at home. And next week, they're going to be going to Sporting Kansas City. Well, DC United's one of the worst teams in Major League Soccer. Vaughan Azzurri, of course, is a semi-pro team out of League One, Ontario. The Red Bulls are one of the worst teams in Major League Soccer, and Sporting Kansas City is the absolute worst team, statistically speaking, in Major League Soccer. So I know Montreal's
not without one of their best players next week. Fontas, who's been suspended because he was red carded yesterday.
Correct.
So imagine they'll have that less in their lineup next week.
Yeah, not to say that Montreal is a powerhouse by any means, but I mean, there's the schedule is in favor of Montreal here, so this is good news. And then the other good news is that there's a pass from Duke that goes to Herrera. Herrera throws it into the box, and there's a goal by Montreal. Live, it looked like it was Chinoza Ofer was able to get a foot on it. When you watch it in slow-mo and you watch it on the replay, it's Andres Reyes that actually scores in his own goal at the 25th minute of play. So an own goal by the New York Red Bulls, and Montreal goes up by a score of 1-0. And then 40 minutes later, at the 65th minute mark, Iliadis picks up his second yellow in less than a 10-minute span. Jeremy, personally, I thought the second yellow, I thought it was a very weak call.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the thing is, you could see that Iliadis is in his stride running when he kicks the ball. It's not as if he stopped and then kick the ball into the stands or whatever it was. Obviously, the referee is going to say that's a delay game. It's an automatic yellow, so it's defendable. But, yeah, he put Montreal in a tough spot there by taking that decision. Iliadis has got to know better. He can't do that, knowing that he's already on the yellow card. Now, the question that I have is, I thought Iliadis did okay against Vaughan in the middle of the week. They gave him another start as a wing back, and he did well. Now, the question that I have is this guy not a permanent solution, but somebody that we can go to week in and week out? He's not going to be there next week because he was red carded. Lassi Lapalainen is going to be coming back soon. I think he'll be taking that spot. But I'm wondering if Montreal is now looking at Iliadis as a guy that use at left wing back more regularly.
Jeremy, he's not the ideal player to play in that slot, but on this team, he is. Who else do they have that's a natural left footer? They have Thorkelson, they have Iliadis, and they have Lassiter. All right, those are the left footers that they have on this team.
Yeah,
and Thorkelson is a left-footed center back. Lassiter is a second forward slash left winger in a 4-3-3, which they never play. Iliadis is a holding midfielder, a 6, maybe an 8. And if there's one of the three that can convert and probably can do the better job of the three, it's probably Iliadis. Once again, he's not elite, but he's the one that fits the bill the most out of what they have.
I think the two positions that they may be looking at to improve before the deadline tomorrow night is left wing back, but also striker position. We see now that with Kyoto out, with Toy out, Chinonzo Ofor is limited. He works very, very hard. He's very physical, but technically speaking, he's not the best. Sunusi Ibrahim is also not really doing the job, so they might be looking at adding a striker before tomorrow's game. Also, I have confirmation that Matko Milovic is definitely back in Montreal right now, and the plan is to have him play his first minutes against Orlando in 2 weeks. So not the next weekend against Kansas City, but the following weekend. And trust me when I say this, having 3 number 10s, and I'm excluding Ahmed Hamdi because it doesn't seem like the coach appreciates him very much, but having 3 number 10s, Rea, Duke, and Milovic will not be too much. Trust me. There are a lot of games coming up. Well, they'll be playing midweek games, so it will not be a luxury to have 3 10s available.
Yeah, I would think that when Miljevic comes into the lineup that you're going to see Rea playing maybe at a wing back position. Rea, who, by the way, is a natural right footer, but he's absolutely excellent with his left foot, okay? He's as close to ambidextrous. I would say the 2 players that are the most ambidextrous on this team are the 2 youngsters, are Sean Rea and Jules Anthony Vilsaint, who we haven't seen yet. Who also is nursing an injury, but I expect Vilsaint to be ready by Saturday's game versus Kansas City. Will he finally see his first minutes? His first minutes. I hope for him because they're going to be going up against the worst team in Major League Soccer.
Yeah, we'll see, but I don't think he gets any minutes in this game. I mean, the coach said he still needs a couple of weeks. We'll see. Want to ease him in, maybe give him a couple of games with the reserves. I don't know. I'm not sure. But, I mean, I agree with you that the opportunity right now, the door is open for Montreal to slowly start getting back into the playoff race because they are facing opponents of weaker caliber. And you got to go into Kansas City with the mentality of wanting to win. But, Tony, they still got to find a way to generate more offense. Again, yesterday, despite the fact that they scored 2 goals, the expected goals were 0.75 again. They were not able to get to 1 expected goal. They thank God for the own goal. And then the last goal of the game, obviously, the Red Bulls are completely opened up trying to tie the game. So you take advantage, and that's great. But they need to find a way to generate more offense.
It's a great play by Matthew Chouanière, who anticipates a pass that was a bad pass because it was changing the direction of the field. It was way too much yardage on the pass. It wasn't hard enough. It wasn't high enough. It's along the ground. He anticipates. He picks it off. He does probably a 50-yard run. He gives the ball. He probably does a 20-yard run. He gives the ball to Chinozo Ofor. He springs him free. Ofor, by the way, I mean, I'm sorry. You're a striker. You need to score that goal, Jeremy. You need to score. You need to score.
But I think Chouanière thought exactly the same thing that I was thinking of in the press box. He's not going to bury it. And credit to Chouanière because he was toasted. This is the 93rd minute of the game. He's been on the field, and you know how much Chouanière runs. And he decides to throw the ball up front, but not only tell Ofor, good luck, buddy, try to score a goal. He follows the play.
Yes.
And following the play, he gets that rebound and buries it. So credit to him.
Well, the one thing we know about Matthew Chouanière going back the last 2 years, maybe 3, he wins the beep test all the time in training camp. He has the best cardio on the team. But you know what? That was will and determination. Chapeau to the young man. I give him a lot of credit. You can tell he put his head down because he had very little gas left in the tank, and it was heart and will and desire that propelled him to go into that box, and he went. Offer's shot is stopped. The rebound comes out. It goes right to Choinière on his left foot. Boom. He buries it home. And the jubilation, good for him, because he knows that he was compensated for his efforts. I get back to Ofer, though. I've seen enough to tell me that with the ball on the ground, his feet, they're not very good. I've seen enough for me to tell me that with the ball on the ground, with his feet, this guy's not a very good goal scorer. His strength, of course, is his work rate, number one. Number two, playing back to net. Number three, protecting and shielding the ball. And number four, putting the ball in the air for him for aerial attacks. So you're going to see him being dangerous off of crosses in the air, of course, off of corner kicks in the air, off of free kicks in the air. That's where he's going to be most dangerous. But he wears on you. That's what he brings to the table, is that to go up against 0-4, he wears you down. And by the end of the game, it'll create opportunities for other players, even for himself. But once again, with his feet, come see, come saw. Okay. Huge win, Jeremy. I give them a lot of credit. Down to 10 men for 30 minutes. I give them a lot of credit.
Okay, just to close up the show, Waterman on the left-hand side of the central defense, it's not ideal. I mean, he's okay there if he doesn't have the ball. When he does get the ball, unfortunately, it's complicated. I think eventually when Campbell's ready to go, he probably gets that position, and then Waterman and Corbo and Camacho rotate on the other side. That's what I think.
We'll talk about. There's going to be more developments, of course, later on this week. It's going to be a busy Monday, Jeremy. The deadline is Monday to add players, correct?
Exactly, Monday night at midnight. And as I mentioned earlier, they are working on a few possible moves. So, stay alert, stay close to us, follow our Twitter handles and everything. We will have the information for you as soon as it comes out.
So if something breaks, who knows? We might even go live. But until then, our plan is to come back and bring you another episode of the Sick Podcast, CF Montreal Talk, on Tuesday, so we can discuss what they did or didn't do on Monday. But the expectation is that sporting director Olivier Renard will do something. He has to improve this team. Clearly, they can use it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's absolutely free. And follow us on Twitter at SickPod, CFMTL. For Jeremy Filosa, I'm Tony Marinaro. Passion and energy. That's what CF Montreal played with on Saturday night. They're going to have to do it again the rest of the season. Ciao for now.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast, CF Montreal Talk on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.